Hi everybody, it's singer and vocal coach Nancy Kelly. This video would be my first lesson, essentially, with a student. It's an overview of all the things that I am going to be teaching during the course, things that I will repeat during the different lessons, but it's basically gives you an idea of the things we're going to learn about, and some very important technical stuff that you maybe didn't even know anything about. I'm pleased to be able to share some things with you that you don't often get to hear on a YouTube video, let alone there aren't many teachers that actually delve so deeply into the technical end, the physical end of singing. So anyway, I start with something that I feel is the most important thing, and that's breathing. And so one of the points I bring up to the students is you are aware that the voice is a wind instrument. And of course we talk about what different wind instruments are. Anything that you blow over a surface that vibrates and the surface creates a sound wave, which is basically what's going on in your larynx with your vocal cords. And it's the diaphragm that's pretty much responsible for getting the air into your lungs. Do you know where your diaphragm is? Most people often point here, right here, and actually it's around here, kind of to the sides a little more. And we're going to show you a picture of that right now. So you'll see that the diaphragm is a very thin muscle. Many muscles, as you know, if the muscle is elongated and relaxed, it's usually long and thin. But when you tighten a muscle, the muscle gets round and contracted, doesn't it? So when you do this, when you breathe, so does the diaphragm. When it contracts, it wants to get a little rounder. And what happens is it hits your ribs here and it can't go that way, so it goes that way. And when it goes down in your body, when it pulls down in your body, it pulls air into your lungs, sort of like that. I use a lot of analogies and a lot of visualizations. I think they really help. One crazy visualization I like using is an upside down bicycle pump. So if you took the hose, right, and here's the plunger, and this hose, right, is your mouth maybe, and what you're doing is, and the air is going in and into your lungs. We like to talk about, I've heard so many wonderful descriptions of how to breathe well and how to breathe in a relaxed way. And one that I saw recently that I adapted to my teaching is the visual of pouring water into a glass, and it fills from the bottom up. If you can picture pulling the air to your waist and letting it continue to fill to your shoulders, very relaxed feeling, really. I have several pretty good things you could try to do to see if you're doing it right. And one that I like to do is I personally have, this is an old raincoat belt. I don't know if you have something like this, but the point is it's got to fit around your waist. So it's got to fit around your waist. Actually, not your waist. I would call it more your midriff. I mean, your waist is here. It's more up here. It's more up here. What I have people do is I have them pull the knot tight. I like pull the knot tight, and then what you're going to do is you're going to breathe. You're going to inhale, but what you want to do is hold this tight, but you want to try and undo the knot with the expanding abdomen. See it? that can help you. When you do this, you want to make sure that your shoulders and your chest plate are not moving. They have nothing to do with getting air into your lungs. Nothing. Really, nor does your mouth or your throat or your nose. You don't do anything here. You let the air be pulled through the available openings. So you're not like gulping with your mouth or anything like that. It's actually being pulled in because the muscle is pulling down in your body, and the lungs are basically a vacuum. So when it pulls down and there's a hole here, there's going to be air going into them. It's that simple. Once you get good at it, it becomes a very almost unnoticeable thing, when you're breathing correctly on stage. There's not a lot of drama. But when you first learn it, there's drama. In fact, I want everybody to overdo things. I want everybody to go past the center line of what's correct. I want you to go a little past. Because if you fall on the side of on this side, not near it, you're never going to get here. So let's go a little past. Let's kind of think things over a little bit more and bring it back to where it belongs. We sing from the center of our body. I talk about this throughout the course over and over again. We sing from the center of our body. Forget about your throat. Forget about this. In fact, I even have a phrase, dead from the neck up. I know that's not very pleasant, but the more you stop thinking about all this and keeping the tension out of here, and especially your tongue, which is another thing down the road we'll talk about quite a bit. So the other fun exercise you can do is, I'll draw you a quick picture, which I'll put up here. I like you to lay on a flat surface. I think the floor is better than a bed, although you could lay on a bed if you want. And as you'll see by the picture, your knees are up, your arms are gently down by your side, and you're going to put a book like a novel kind of book, that size. You're going to put a book right where that center, where your diaphragm area is there, where you're breathing. Put it right here on your tummy, right here. See where I have it? Now, and when you're going to inhale, what you're going to want to do is try to make that book come this way a little bit. See how it's lifting and moving? Do you see when I'm doing this that my shoulders are not moving? The book is the only thing moving. This is a wonderful exercise. It really, really, really gets you in touch with the whole breathing mechanism. It really does. So those are the first two little exercises you can try to do to see if you're breathing correctly. The next thing that I talk about to everybody, remember when I started this, I said I ask people where their diaphragm is, and they go here. And then I said, actually not, it's around here, a little more to the sides, right? What you're really pointing at is the core muscles. Whenever you hear a vocal coach, director, someone saying to you, support the note, get under the note, they're telling you those things. What they're talking about is that muscle getting engaged and causing the airflow to increase. You're going to increase the velocity of the air that's leaving you. So it's sort of like this whole area of your body, if you could think of your lungs like they were balloons, right? And when this core muscle tightens, it's like taking your fist and going and just giving that air a little bit of a nudge. And what happens is you put support and get support under the note. The note becomes more in tune. The tone quality, or we call it timbre, of the note is way better. And it really helps you the higher you go up the scale. The higher you climb, the more support you need, the higher notes. That has a lot to do with things. I'll probably talk about that stuff more in detail as we get going into the course. Like I said, this is an overview of things you're going to be learning. So the core, there's a little exercise that I give people to become aware of what the core muscle does. And I would like you to put your hands here on your core muscle. Feel this muscle right here in the middle, right under your solar plexus, right here. And you're going to do a little, it's a siren or a whistle, like, woo woo! And do it loud. Don't do it quiet. Do it loud. So what you're going to feel is this muscle bouncing. Woo woo! Do you see my hands? Woo woo! Don't be shy, because you need to get connected to the center of your body. We sing from the center of our body. These are very important instructional ideas here for you, which I will get into later. And when we work with one-on-one with a student, you'll see some of this stuff in action. So that's a pretty good overview of the breathing. The next part of this overview is to talk about chest tone. I call it chest tone. Chest tone, head tone. Some people say chest voice, head voice. It's all the same thing. I don't know how I just got used to calling it chest tone. So chest tone and head voice. And I use a really cute little diagram. I don't know where I got it from, but somebody's instructional stuff. And it's cute, and it talks about, I'll put a picture of it up here for you. It talks about the low notes being in the basement and the high notes being in the penthouse. I know it's kind of silly and childish, but it really is a great visual, I think. I think it's a good visual, especially when you just don't understand how that works. So basically what's happening is the lower notes need to resonate, and they need to pick up resonance from the lower part of your shoulders and your rib cage here, right? And as the note moves up in pitch, and you will feel your larynx going up and down. There's a couple things that I could show you that'll just to blow your mind. They're really incredible when you think about that. Your body just instinctively moves that larynx up and down. It's really kind of cool. So if I was to do a glissando, what's a glissando? Remember when we were little, we had one of those whistles that went, right? Maybe you didn't have one, but you know what I mean. So that's just a sliding note. The voice is a glissando instrument. You know some other glissando instruments, like maybe a trombone, right? So I'm going to do a glissando from a low note to a high note, from the basement to the penthouse. And you're going to hear the sound literally rising up my body and lowering, right? So, you can hear it up here. Did you hear that move? You can try that yourself and notice how it goes up and down. And you'll probably run into that area we call the break or the passaggio. We'll get into that later. We'll talk about that more. What we're talking about here basically is resonance. Do you know what the word resonance means? Can you think of something that resonates? There's so many wonderful examples. I think one of the best ones is standing in a gym and hearing your voice just bounce all over the walls. Another place I love to hear resonance is in an old cement stairway in a big building. Woo! You go in those, and you can just hear it bouncing everywhere. We singers often like to replicate that digitally with something called reverb. It makes the voice feel like it's just floating. I personally love it. Some people don't. I do. I just like that when I'm singing. That thing like you're singing in a cave and it's just, hey! It's going on forever. So the notes in your body resonate. They bounce. I use a really great analogy. This is one of my own ideas. If you took the bass string off a big double bass, you know what a huge, great big double bass looks like. You know what that looks like. If you took the low string, the E string, off of there, and you just set it here in the middle of this room, and you strung it and somehow made it tight enough to play an E, but it was in the middle of this room, and you plucked the string, you would hear nothing. Because we don't hear the strings, we hear the wood. Same thing goes for a guitar. You know, if you play the guitar without the wood, you don't hear anything. You hear blah, right? So here's the thing that everyone loves to find out. So we don't hear your vocal cords. We hear your bones. Your body is your instrument. Your body is your instrument. That's why I said, to get a nice tone out of the lower notes, you're going to try to keep the note down where it can resonate off of these bones here. Chest voice. A little thing you can do to experiment is to take your hand and place it right here on your chest plate, and you can do a glissando down into a low note, but do it a really yawny sounding. Oh, oh. You'll feel that. Feel that. You feel those bones vibrating. This usually blows everybody's mind. They go, this just can't be. I never thought of this. Your body is your instrument. So where you place sound, it's called body placement. There's a right and a wrong place to place sound. I find many singers sing in their throat. This is, they come to me, they're all here, right here. There's nothing resonating because they talk here. I hear this. I don't hear a relaxed larynx, and I don't hear resonance, and I hear stress. So this is very important to understand where you're placing sound. If you do a glissando, I like to take the back of my hand because I can really feel the Adam's apple, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. If I'm a woman, I might call it an Eve's apple, but I'm a wise guy. But anyway, if you want to feel your Adam's apple and you want to do a glissando, go from a low note to a very high note, and you will feel that go up and down. Ah! You'll feel it. Try it now. You'll feel it. The thing is, you didn't think about moving that larynx. Your body did it instinctively, because I happen to believe that sound is a survival instinct. So there's a lot of things that you do instinctively with your voice that you didn't realize you did. Thing is, when we sing, we sometimes have to think about where that larynx is, where it is. So sometimes to get resonance from your chest, you need to relax your throat, have it be open, let that all relax. So you're not singing like this, but you're singing like this. Do you hear the difference? So much more warm and inviting, as opposed to this. We want this. It's subtle, but it's also a big difference in how relaxed you are. And I'm going to get into all that stuff later. I don't want to like fix everything right now. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what this course is going to be like and the things you're going to learn. You know, we're not going to just sit here and teach people songs. I teach people to sing. I don't care what you do with it after you learn how. You know, unfortunately, the tough part about this, when it's you and me and this screen, I can't be there to help you decide and to monitor what kind of sound you're making and how you're making sound. That's why you should be one-on-one with a teacher. You know, And I'm not trying to recruit people for my studio. I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I suggest that you get a real teacher before you just sit, a live teacher, I mean, before you try an experiment and get yourself into even more bad habits. The next part of what I do and what we learn and what we focus on quite a bit is, we talked about body placement just now. So you learned about that. Where, it's the answer to the rhetorical question, where is the sound resonating in my instrument? That's body placement. The next thing we talk about that's very important is vowel placement. When we were little kids and we learned the English language, we learned A, E, I, O, U. But in singing, we focus more on the way that vowel sounds. So, vowel sounds. When we practice scales, we use vowel sounds. So, you're going to learn about where these vowels resonate and are formed in the mouth. They have very specific spots where they're supposed to resonate in the mouth. So I will show you a diagram here right now that shows you the head and the mouth and where these vowels should be resonating. The E vowel really comes right out under your nose. If you say a word with conviction, like we, and you will feel that E right here. And feel it. The next one is eh. E, eh, ah, o, u. If you say those with conviction, you can actually feel them moving back in your mouth. E, eh, ah, o, u. You can really feel that oo. The E and the oo are the two vowel sounds that come directly out. The eh is the first vowel sound that goes up through the hard palate and then out. Ah, through the hard palate and out. O, out. Ooh. And the more you are conscious of those things, this is what gets you more towards singing without stress, because that's always the goal. Creating sound without a lot of tension. You know, so many people get the tension in their jaw and their mouth. I watch people with their lips, and your lips should be just, there should be nothing. They should be completely relaxed. What I have a little exercise you can try on one note, on a B. I like a B flat for the girls. A B flat 3, and maybe a B flat 2 for the fellas. Okay, so I like you to put an M in front of it. Boy, we love M's and we love N's because they're hums. And a hum is the natural position of the note. You don't have to think about it at all. All you got to do is hum, and the sound is where it belongs. You could feel it. If you hum, you should feel it buzzing in your lips, and you know it's in the right place. So we're going to take this diagram that I have here, E, E, A, O, U, and there's other vowel sounds. Those are just the main ones that we work with most of the time. There's I, like in the word this. So to go through them with that whole thing that I just did, like E, the word we or me. Like in the word then or when, and. I is something, it has a funny name. It's called a diphthong. In linguistics, they call it a diphthong. It's funny. That sounds like a name you'd call a goofy person. But anyway, a diphthong. That's two vowel sounds. Do you know what they are? Say it slowly. I. 2 vowel sounds, ah and e. Yeah. So, we're going to have you learn a little very simple scale, but it puts you in touch with the idea of these things moving, and it puts you in touch with the fact that your mouth is shaped differently on the different vowels. So we go me, me, ma, mo, mu. You've probably heard it before. It's not uncommon. Me, may. Oh, pardon, long A. Me, may, not eh. The long A and the eh are just basically in the same place in the mouth. Me, may, ma, mo, mu. Me. Say the word me. You're gonna look at yourself in the mirror. Me. You can see how it smiles. Anytime that you sing an E, your mouth will be wee. It's slightly smiley. So it's slightly smiley. Long A. That's not hard. Say the word day. Look at your mouth. Day, way. It's not too wide. The one that everyone goofs up is ah. The one that I spend hours of time trying to correct with people is the ah vowel. They don't get their mouth open wide enough, and it's so important. It shapes the sound. It makes it easier to sing. So the ah vowel, I have a really cool template to help you find the right shape of your mouth for ah. So you take 2 fingers, right, and you lightly bite, and you remove them, but hold your mouth still. Pretty wide, wider than you think. So we got me, me, ma, mo, mu. Me, me, ma, mo, mu. The whole idea of this thing is for you to start to become aware of where the vowels are in your mouth and what your mouth is doing, because it's important. It's important. It forms the sound. It's all on the road to being stress-free with your singing. So I think for now that might be enough about the vowel sounds. And the next lesson, what I'm going to do is have a live student with me, and we're going to work on some things and show you how it's done. I hope you enjoyed this little lecture, and I hope I see you soon. Thanks.